this is a story of going through boxes of stuff that you have and coming across something that you had absolutely no idea what it was. Came across this in one of the boxes, and so I posted out to the Vintage HP forum at Groups.io and asked folks and found out what it was. And so we'll be talking today about the ROMulator for the HP Portable Plus. So let me start with a little history on what the Portable Plus is, in case not everybody has followed that like we do the calculators. The HP PCD, Portable Computer Division in Corvallis, their first portable computer was the 110 HP Portable. The second was the one that's pictured here, which was the HP Portable Plus. Portable Plus was actually a really nice machine for its time. It was a clamshell computer. It used the same AC adapter as your Special K printer, your Filbert printer, some of the portable products, other portable products that had come out of Corvallis. It had a 80 character by 25 line display. It had a lead acid battery, so it actually ran forever on its battery. On the back, it had hpcalc.org. It had RS-232, and it had a 1200 baud modem. On the bottom, it had two expansion slots, one for RAM and one for ROM. Now, it weighed under 9 pounds without expansion doors, under 10 pounds with a maximum configuration. So it wasn't a light beast, but it was a portable beast, and it was very rugged. If you find one of these on eBay today, it's going to probably work. And the batteries, the lead acid batteries, are still available from Batteries Plus or other places, unlike some of the calculators. So when I went out to yes?
I found one on eBay.
Yeah.
No power supply. Is that just a standard DC power supply?
It's the same AC adapter as a Special K or a Filbert drive. So I actually saw one. Someone's got one here at the conference.
82059.
Yeah.
71 or any of the HPIL peripherals.
Yeah. The HP 75 recharger will work. The HP 71 recharger will work.
I have a little box full of those.
So
I'll sell you one.
So when I went out to the forum and said, okay, what is this? Jean-Francois was good enough to say, I think I've seen this, and there's actually a presentation out there on the Portable Plus engineering training, and he gave me the link for it, and I pulled that up, and that's what some of these first slides are. Now, one of the neat things about the innovative things about the Portable Plus is it actually allowed you to put software in ROM, and that ROM software was just like a disk, but it was faster. Didn't really require a whole lot of special programming, and you could do multiple banks. And the advantages is you could put very large programs into the ROM and not take up the precious DOS system RAM. The program was secure. It was hard for regular users to copy things out of that ROM, and the ROM you could even write ROM to replace the OS of the Portable Plus. Okay, so this is a picture of one of the ROM doors from my portables. To put this in perspective, Reflection 1 was a terminal program. It did VT and HP terminals. Memo Maker Time Manager was a calendar program. Microsoft Word is one of the earlier versions of Word. And then Executive Card Manager is a contact manager. Lotus 123 was a fairly full implementation of Lotus 123 at the time. And the two EPROMs here, one has Emacs in it and the other has a Unix shell. So And these programs all ran out of ROM. They didn't take any of your MS-DOS system RAM up, so left all of the RAM in the computer for data. Custom ROM software, you did have to worry about ROM addressing and figuring out the ROM disks and ROM executable. But for developers, there were all sorts of tools that had been developed. One was a ROM simulator, which is the ROMulator that we're gonna show you. And then you could put EPROMs in drawers, and there was actually a lab for it. So the development process goes like this. You create your program. You could write it in C and compile it. You used an image utility to create a ROM image in the ROM simulator. Then you burned that to EPROM, and then you spent the big bucks if you were going to go commercial and buy a mask ROM. The ROM simulator, which is what we're talking about here, was not a product. It was only for developers. In the Rev 1 product that I have here, it was 512K of NMOS RAM to emulate 2 banks of ROM. Someone's car is going away. It had a separate power supply to keep the DRAM alive when you turned off your Portable Plus. It had a RAM ROM switch, so the first version could either simulate a ROM, 2 banks of ROM, or another RAM disk. And it used an image utility to load the E-disk. So as I was going through this, someone posted on one of the forums that they had a couple Portable Pluses and a couple of ROM simulator drawers for sale. And Bob picked them up and was kind enough to send me the documentation for those drawers. And that's a version 2 of the ROM simulator. The version 2 contained 1 million bytes of memory, so it did 4 ROMs instead of 2. And it still had the power connector, but they cleaned up the power connector. If you want to see it, well, I'll show you pictures of it later. Okay, so this is the version 1, and you can see the standard HP recharger plug on it, epoxied, and a RAM ROM switch, toggle switch. Take the top off of it. There's the epoxy. It's not real pretty, but it worked. The top of it. Zoom in on the board, back of the board. Part of what I'm doing here is as with presentations last year, I'm trying to document some of the development tooling that was used to develop some of these products before that documentation totally disappears. And I try to capture enough pictures of this so that you could go off and recreate it if you wanted to. So give you close-ups of the elegant wire wrap wiring. The version 2, we believe, doesn't have, looks a lot better than this. This is when you saw the picture of the board, these are the labels on all of the integrated circuits. And as I mentioned last year, HP, being a big user of integrated circuits, forced its suppliers to relabel some of the standard TTL type chips or CMOS chips with their own part numbers. So 1820- something or other are the HP part numbers. And there's a Bench Briefs article that has an index of all of those HP part numbers and their logical equivalent. And that Bench Brief is on Eric's drive, so you have this. So using that decoder ring, these are the integrated circuits that are in the Portable Plus ROM drawer. And so this is decoded out what that ROM drawer looks like. So you have 16 256K by 1 DRAMs. The power comes in here, it goes through a rectifier, then a regulator, the capacitors for that. You've got a DRAM controller, an 8 megahertz clock generator, and then all of this stuff is the address decode, control logic, and the buffers to go back out on the bus. So that's what a version 1 ROMulator looks like. So what is version 2? Well, as I mentioned, version 2 uses a modified HPAC adapter. So you chop off the plug and put a 2.5 millimeter subminiature plug on it. It does not have a RAM ROM switch. I believe the documentation that we got with the version 2 doesn't spell this out, but I believe, I do know that, and I tried it, that the eDisk system has a /M switch. The new software, eDisk software that came with version 2, has a /M switch in the config sys file that says it emulates RAM. So I think that that's the way they emulate RAM in the second one rather than have the switch. And it has 1 megabytes of DRAM, so it simulates 4 banks of ROMs. So thank you, Bob, for taking pictures of all of this. So this is ROMulator version 2. Top, sort of boring, but this does say that there's probably at least 15 more out there in the wild, maybe somewhere. You can see the much cleaner design here. So this probably went out to software developers, much more likely than the one I have. The 2.5 millimeter plug. The inside, a few more chips. We'll get to what they are. Again, go through the decoder ring for what all of those parts are. And this is what the inside looks like. So you have on each side 16 256K by 1s. You've got the 8 megahertz oscillator up here, the DRAM controller, the address decode logic. You've got the same kind of rectifier and power regulator on the side, 5-volt regulator. And the other feature that this has is you could do banks 0 to 4 or 5 to 7. So there's a hardware switch up here in the corner that allows you to do the switches between the banks. Okay. Now, we've talked about the hardware. Let's talk a little bit about the software. How this worked is there's a driver you put in config.sys called edisk.sys, which was the installable RAM disk driver. There was an image.com program, which is a set of utilities. We'll talk about what they could do. And then you had a burn utility that took the data out of the eDisk and converted it into an image that you could program a PROM with. This is the list of files that were on the software zip file that came with the version 1s. Okay, edisk.sys, as I mentioned, is the multi-drive eDisk driver. This has to be installed in order to basically allow access to the hardware, the DRAM hardware. Image.com had the standard utilities that you needed to do checksums, directories, to do basically to name the ROM and that kind of stuff. All of the stuff you'd need to manage those ROM files on the eDisk are there, and then the burns it. Okay, so does this prototype actually work? Well, somewhat, maybe, I'm not sure yet. What I've got here on the screen is that I used the eDisk software that came with version 2, and I did a question mark as the key, and it comes up that it did find 2 ROM banks, and each of them are full banks of 256K. That says to me that the hardware is probably working, and that because the eDisk found it and whatnot. No documentation on what the difference between version 1 and version 2 are, so there's still some work to be done to see if I could actually use this to program an EEPROM. So lesson learned here is that the forums out there are really powerful ways to discover or rediscover what some of this legacy stuff is. And don't be afraid to go out and ask. and say, okay, I found this, what is it? And because somebody's going to know, and they'll get back. So for instance, Everett replied, this is Everett's reply when I sent out the first message. He says, the RAM ROM drawer was never a product, pretty sure, but was a development tool for ROM programmers, developers, to more easily build and test their code. The plug-in power supply to the drawer was to maintain the DRAM contents while the portable was rebooted and powered on. It may have been provided to third-party providers. I don't know for sure. I think it was capable of replacing the internal ROMs, and we now know it was. But I'm not sure. It may have been only for additional plug-in development so many years ago. But so this is people, digging up in the memories. But again, thanks to Everett, thanks to Jean-Francois and all of the other folks that were able to kick in, and to Bob to kick in and provide some of this information.
Is that Everett Pager?
Yes. So with that, I purposely went a little bit fast because I've got some bonus material. Okay. Last year, I presented something on the HP 75 development prototype, this. And that got published and put out on YouTube. And Paul Berger said, hey, I have one of these. Okay. And I wasn't sure what it was, but I did a reverse engineering on it. And I've got this PDF file that has all the schematics for it and development description and text. So this is everything. Truly, it takes the work that I had in the YouTube like to the next step and gives you the schematics and everything you need to build it, along with the detailed documentation. So this is now out on the Eric's flash drive. So that sort of closes the loop on the presentation that we did last year. And you have even more information on this. Again, this is one of those things where if you ask the community or you get information out there, someone's probably thought about it or worked on it and can help you. Okay. That's bonus 1. Okay. Bonus 2. This middle thing is a poster that was up in HP Labs, posted up in HP Labs in 1984. Commissioned artwork. I blew up the picture on this side and the text on this side so you could read it. The text here says, what does that mean, tame? It is an act often neglected, said the fox. It means to establish ties. If you tame me, then we shall need each other. One only understands the things that one tames. Now, I thought that this was an interesting poster to be up in HP Labs, but what they were talking about is, again, this was 1984. What they were talking about is this was before PCs were, in the early 80s, the PCs were not as in the home and being used by people. And so this is what the point they were making is this is the computer when it's fully integrated into the home. And they've got the cat here for tame in the computer. So I like that. I like that artwork when I visited the labs, and a number of years later, I called up the admin and said, "You wouldn't happen to have one of those posters still around, would you?" And they actually dug one out and sent it up to me. Last bonus. Okay, what prized HP product came in this gift box? And a hint. The box is 8.5 inches by 14 inches by 3 inches. Solid wood box, brass plates.
75C.
Nah.
C plus.
It's not
No.
manual, because,
No. What? No guesses?
35?
HPO1 watch.
No.
Yeah, cardboard.
This was I dug this out on the. So this is actually my wife's stethoscope. My first I looked it up on the web and it said my first stethoscope was made of steel and rubber tubing. Today's versions are mostly plastic, lightweight plastic. Mine was one of the style called Rappaport Sprague, named after its inventors, I assume. The very best model of this stethoscope was sold by Hewlett-Packard, which alas no longer makes it. It turns out I bought this for my wife as an employee. You got the employee discount and whatnot, but this again was at the time, these HP stethoscopes were like the premier thing for nurses or doctors. Yeah.
She stored it in the refrigerator, of course.
No.
Oh, dear.
But, yeah, I get it. No, not quite. But
Was this done by the branding team that was actually made by some medical company, or?
it was made by someone else, but it wasn't. They didn't call it branding team back then.
No, but it was actually sold as an HP product.
It was an HP. Yeah, this is the HP product. This is the whole box and whatnot. So yeah, this was an HP stethoscope.
Interesting. Looks analog.
I lied. Last bonus thing. This is my project. Is not quite ready for prime time yet. This is the HP 41 schematic. One E-size sheet. This is currently laid out in my living room on a big table. We're trying to flatten it. The challenge of it is that this was all folded, and where the folds are, the copy overlaps, and we lose some information. So recreating that is the next project. Okay. Any questions? Yeah.
I just wonder how many in here has a portable plus? Quite a few.
Have the what?
Portable Plus.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
How many in here want a portable?
I have one.
Saving on the
I have one.
I bought a Portable Plus to get those run drives.
They used to be so cheap you could buy them just to get the HPIL cables.
Yeah. And they are a decent HPIL controller. Yeah. Yeah.
Was the portable a Corvallis product, or what division back then?
The portable and the portable plus were Corvallis projects. Yeah. And they moved on to things like this was the HP portable computer division in Corvallis. They went on to do things like the 95LX and the 100LX and the 200LX.
Well, some of HP's computer calculators were from the instrument division in Colorado, weren't they?
The ninth, well, there are folks in here that are actually much more knowledgeable about that total history. The 9000 desktop portable computers were, and the 9845s and that kind of stuff. Those were Fort Collins projects. Some of the people from Colorado actually moved to Corvallis to do, like the project manager, the section manager for the 75, Don Morris, actually came from Colorado along with some of his team. Yeah.
Was the 9807 integral, did that come from Fort
The integral came from Corvallis as well. That was from the Corvallis workstation operation, who also did the work on some of the early work on X Windows for Hewlett-Packard. By the way, you know, the 85 and the calculators,
Yep.
also Corvallis. Yeah. Okay? Thanks.